Nestled in the heart of the mountains, a remote village harbored a chilling secret. A whisper of a tale passed down through the ages, echoing through the narrow alleyways and the rustic homes. This was a story not of heroism or valor, but of a specter that haunted the shadows, a malevolent spirit known as the Chudail. This quaint village, untouched by the passage of time, was nestled at the foot of towering peaks and surrounded by a dense, forbidding forest. It was here that the villagers lived, their lives intertwined with the cycles of nature. But beyond the safety of their homes, in the shadowy depths of the forest, they believed a darkness lurked. The Chudail, they whispered, was a sinister presence that claimed the forest as its own, a phantom that hunted under the cloak of darkness, preying on those who dared to trespass into its domain. The villagers lived in the grip of fear, their hearts pounding at the mere mention of the Chudail. The forest, once a source of life and sustenance, had become a place of dread, a symbol of the unknown. Children were warned not to venture too far from their homes, lest they catch the Chudail's attention. Elders spun tales of the spirit's wrath, their words painting vivid images of its terrifying form. A woman with long, disheveled hair, her eyes ablaze with an otherworldly glow. The Chudail was not just a tale to frighten children. It was a palpable fear that hung over the village like a shroud. But amidst this fear, there was defiance. A group of young men, their hearts filled with bravado, saw the Chudail not as a specter to be feared, but as a challenge to their courage, a legend to be debunked, a mystery to be solved. They saw the forest not as a place of dread, but as a test of their mettle. While the villagers feared the Chudail, a group of young men saw it as a challenge to their bravado. Their determination was as resolute as the mountain peaks that watched over their village. Little did they know what awaited them in the darkness of the forest. Under the cover of a moonless night, the young men ventured into the haunted forest. Their hearts pounded with adrenaline and anticipation, their flashlights cutting through the inky darkness. The forest, usually a symphony of nocturnal activity, fell eerily quiet as they stepped further into its depths. The crunch of leaves underfoot and the occasional hoot of an owl were the only sounds that dared to break the silence. Their breath misted in the chilly air as they pushed deeper, their bravado keeping their mounting fear at bay. The trees loomed like ancient sentinels, their shadows morphing into grotesque shapes that danced on the edges of their vision. An unsettling feeling of being watched crept over them, prickling the back of their necks. But they shook it off, dismissing it as paranoia, a trick of their overactive imaginations. The landscape began to change. The trees gave way to an open space, revealing an unexpected sight, an ancient cemetery, its gravestones weathered by time and overgrown with moss. This was not a part of the forest they knew. The sight sent a chill down their spines, but curiosity overcame their fear. They ventured closer, their flashlights illuminating the names of forgotten souls etched into the stone. The air grew colder still, the silence deepened, and they felt a shift in the atmosphere. It was as if the forest was holding its breath, waiting for something, or someone, to break the silence. Their laughter faded, their jesting ceased, and a sense of foreboding settled over them. They were not alone. As they stood among the gravestones, the temperature dropped, and a spectral figure emerged. From the shadows, a woman with long, disheveled hair and gleaming eyes advanced towards them. Her form was spectral, a phantom birthed from the deepest pits of nightmares. The moonless night shrouded her in an ethereal glow, her silhouette twisting and contorting in ways that defied the laws of nature. She was a Chudail, a malevolent spirit of lore, standing amid the gravestones of an ancient, overgrown cemetery. Her eyes, alight with an otherworldly glow, seemed to pierce through the darkness, holding the men in a paralyzing trance. Her hair, wild and unkempt, danced in the cold wind, a stark contrast to the unnerving stillness that had fallen over the forest. The men could feel their hearts pounding in their chests, a deafening drum echoing their mounting terror. They were frozen, their bravado melting away under the Chudail's gaze. Their flashlights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced with the Chudail's ghastly form. As she floated closer, the temperature around them plummeted further, a tangible testament to her chilling presence. The spectral figure began to circle them, her ghastly wails tearing through the silence of the night. Each wail was a symphony of despair, a lament that resonated with an ancient sorrow. One by one she reached out her bony fingers, touching each man. The touch was colder than the deepest winter, an icy brush against their skin that seemed to drain their life force. Their strength ebbed away, their bodies succumbing to a paralyzing weakness. The realization dawned upon them, a terrifying truth they had dared to dismiss. The legend was not a myth. The Chudail was real, and she was here, hungering for their souls. Their courage had led them into the lion's den, their curiosity serving as an invitation to their own demise. Desperation seeped into their bones as they attempted to flee, but the forest was a labyrinth under the Chudail's spell. The trees seemed to shift, the paths leading them in endless circles. The once familiar terrain was now a terrifying maze, a trap that held them captive. As the Chudail continued her relentless pursuit, the men fell one by one, their lifeless bodies joining the ranks of the forgotten graves. Their screams of terror were swallowed by the forest, their pleas for mercy lost in the wind. The chilling wails of the Chudail echoed in the night as she claimed their souls, one by one. Their adventure had turned into a horrifying tale of their own, a testament to the terror that lurked in the heart of the forest. The legend of the Chudail was not a tale to be trifled with. It was a stark warning, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay beyond the safety of their homes. In the cold light of dawn, the forest stood silent, its secrets hidden beneath a veil of shadows. The aftermath of the young men's encounter with the Chudail was a chilling spectacle. As the first rays of sunlight pierced through the dense canopy, the village woke to an eerie silence, a stark contrast to the harmonious hum of life that usually greeted the day. The absence of the young men was painfully apparent, their youthful laughter replaced by an echoing void that seeped into the hearts of the villagers. As days turned into weeks, the village sank into an abyss of fear and despair. The once lively community gatherings became somber affairs, the air thick with unspoken dread. The villagers mourned their lost sons, their faces etched with sorrow and regret. The forest, once a source of sustenance and a symbol of their unity, now stood as a haunting monument of the tragedy. The impact of the Chudail's haunting was not just personal but communal. The village, once teeming with life, was now a ghost town. The fields lay barren, the river ran silent, and an unshakable pallor hung over the once vibrant community. The villagers lived in the shadow of the forest, their lives dictated by the fear of the unknown. The young men's courageous but ill-fated expedition had tested the boundaries of the village's folklore, their tragic fate cementing the Chudail's existence in the collective consciousness. The legend they had sought to debunk was now a visceral reality, a nightmarish tale that had claimed their lives. With each passing day, the villagers became more isolated, their fear of the Chudail driving a wedge between them and the outside world. They lived in perpetual fear, their days filled with an oppressive silence and nights echoing with the chilling wails of the Chudail. The legend of the Chudail was no longer a mere whisper, but a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked beyond the safety of their homes. In the wake of the tragedy, a lesson emerged from the shadows of the legend. It was a poignant reminder of the perils of hubris and the consequences of challenging what we don't fully understand. The young men, full of bravado, sought to confront and debunk the legend, but they underestimated the power of the unknown. They ventured into a realm that was not meant for them and paid the price for their audacity. This tale underscores the importance of respecting cultural lore and the wisdom of our ancestors. These legends, whether we believe in them or not, are not just tales to frighten children into obedience. They are steeped in history and carry lessons on caution, respect, and humility. They teach us to tread lightly in the face of the unknown, to be mindful of the mysteries that lurk in the shadows. In the end, the tale of the Chudail served as a grim reminder that some mysteries are better left unsolved.